This week on episode 296 of the Cinema Psycho Show, it's the holiday season, and you know what that means. Fighting over whether or not Die Hard is or isn't a Christmas movie.
Oh, goody, goody, here it comes.
Welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show.
You are interested in the unknown, the mysterious, the unexplainable. That is why you are here.
Oh my God, don't stop now!
With your hosts, Brian, John, and Elaine.
Welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show, the madhouse for film freaks and film fans of all types. I'm your host, Brian Connaughton, with my fellow co-host and filmmaker, John Woolscroft.
I know it's controversial, but I'm just going to say it. The Exorcist is just not a Christmas movie.
I would disagree.
It was the power of Christ that saved her.
You know, one of these deals. Yeah, we're on episode 296, and in honor of, again, Christmassy time, we felt it was necessary to do the clickbaity / holiday thing to do, and wade into the ever-growing argument that I think just comes up like every year. Like, this is something that you can set your watch to, and that is Die Hard a Christmas movie? And if we're going with what is Die Hard a Christmas movie, what actually constitutes a Christmas movie and what doesn't?
And to be clear, now that we got you in, we're using Die Hard, as a template of a discussion of what is a Christmas movie.
Because we're film twas.
Yeah. And to be clear, there is no set rules or regulations or anything written down by like Louis B. Mayer and all the filmmakers at the beginning of the 20th century where they said, this shall be the decree, what makes a holiday film. Everybody just makes up their own rules, and we'll be doing a little bit of that too. What I'll be basing a lot of mine on is that I found a couple of articles and I based it off of their thinking. And then I kind of base my own opinions on that more than, my particular outlook on it. Brian, do we want to?
Mine is my particular outlook. Like, there's science involved, but it's like with all episodes of the Cinema Psycho Show, it's all opinion. Now, before we jump into it, I just want to call out again, because I did this last episode. I want to make sure I do it this episode.
Yes.
If you like this show, if you're into kind of what we do here, do me a favor, hit the subscribe on our YouTube channel, hit the like and the notification bell. If you're listening to our audio only platforms, click the follow button. That would be great. John, what do you think? Would that be awesome?
I think it would be super duper. Yeah. And like, if you like the show, tell all your friends, because who doesn't like a podcast when they're cleaning or if they're able, when they're working or going to bed at night? I love the idea. Nothing more than people listening to my voice as they go to sleep.
I'll tell you one thing. If you are dealing with the holiday blues, our podcast will make you laugh.
There you go. Yeah. Because I don't care if you're having a kickin' Kwanzaa, a happy Hanukkah, a Merry Christmas, a Yuletide Yule, or if you don't even celebrate the holidays, you don't care for them. And if you are that person and you're listening to a podcast about whether Die Hard's a Christmas movie, thank you so much.
Seriously, thank you so much. But yes, please hit the follow button on your favorite podcast app and leave us a review. That'd be cool too. We like to see how we're doing. But with that said, that little public service announcement, John, what do you think? Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
Hell yeah.
And that's the end of the episode.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. Make sure you follow us wherever you find your podcasts. We'll listen to you next time. John says something stupid.
Says something stupid.
But no, actually, as a matter of fact, for our video audience.
See, I'm wearing a Christmas shirt today too.
Yeah.
I'm doing the anti-Christmas, which is of course the Krampus.
Krampus. Yeah.
Krampus.
But I have How the Grouper Stole Christmas, and I've got my my countdown to Christmas.
I was hoping you were going to bring this up, so I'm going to do our there we go our video.
So I'll start down low. You can see the top of Nakatomi.
Yeah, I've got to describe this for audio only. So John is showing his advent calendar of Hans Gruber falling off the Nakatomi Plaza.
Yeah, it's not
Classic.
Christmas till Hans Gruber falls off the Nakatomi Plaza. And for me, today is day 2 of the 12 beers of Christmas.
Oh,
And
what's the beer today, John?
I was gonna say I purposely have the label turned around because if you want me to name you, pay me. But I'll just do it. Yeah. It's Gunner's Daughter Milk Stout. I'm a dark beer fan, so Christine surprised me with all of these. So I don't even know what I'm gonna pull out every time. That's what she said.
It's the gift that keeps on giving. And sometimes it gives after in the form of vomit and shame.
Or nasty poopies.
Or nasty poopies.
Just the hottest parts.
Just the hot. And all those people who clicked follow a few seconds ago, they're just like, fuck this show.
Yeah.
So, Die Hard, you say it's a Christmas movie. I tend to also agree, but I don't know if my reasons are the same reasons that you have. So, John, why do you think Die Hard is a Christmas movie?
Well, I think that the whole episode, I'm going to kind of be breaking that down. And I'm also going to try to play a little bit of devil's advocate so we can have a discussion on exactly why, some reasons some people don't see something as a Christmas movie when it's something of this subject matter, and why, there are arguments on both sides. So I just kind of want to play, I'm going to play prosecution and defense, I think, even though, in my heart of hearts, it's absolutely a Christmas movie. In the same vein of unconventional Christmas movies like Gremlins and Batman Returns and Lethal Weapon are all Christmas movies as well. But really, at the end of the day,
I was going to say I have a list of unconventional ones,
and and I'll say this at the end of the show too. It's like a Christmas movie, because this is a free country, is whatever you want to watch at Christmas.
Damn right.
If you want to watch Trick or Treat on Christmas Day, then that's a Christmas movie to you, sir, whoever you may be.
One Christmas, I watched Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Why? Because at the time, I was an anime nerd and was totally into Vampire Hunter D. And what did Santa Claus give me but a Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust DVD? So that's what I watched.
I think once you get to Christmas evening, all bets are off. Because
totally.
It's like, okay, Christmas Eve, you got to watch some of the classics, and maybe watch Christmas Story during the marathon during the day. But it's like whatever the favorite movie you got for Christmas, that's what you're throwing on Christmas night. Like all bets are off at that point. I think I watched, as soon as I got Dark Knight on DVD that Christmas, I'm like, yep, that's Christmas night movie. I'm watching The Dark Knight. So.
Damn right. Right. Batman is always a good time for a Christmas movie.
Well, yeah, I mean, literally with Batman Returns.
I know that's one of mine. That's on my list.
But I have a definition here.
Okay, what's your definition?
And this is just a definition I found online. Are there more nuanced rules which define what makes a movie a specific holiday movie? Typically, some familiar tropes of reoccurring themes in Christmas films include a love story, the redemption or transformation of a Scrooge-like character, a family coming together for the holidays, and the importance of tradition.
Interesting. Scientific approach.
And I still feel that that's kind of specific but abstract at the same time. And so, Brian, this really surprised me. Apparently, 62% of people polled do not think that Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
What the fuck's the matter with them?
Well, it's also an age thing.
Yeah, I kind of figured as much.
18 to 35 are more likely, or are 25 to 30% more likely to say it's a Christmas movie as compared to, say, our boomers and our,
I have a theory about that. And my theory, honestly, it kind of originates from the memification of our culture in the past, I'd say 20 some odd years. Now, this is again, me dragging out my degrees, dragging my degrees out. But I think that because of the rise of memes in our culture, and I think that the Die Hard as a Christmas movie meme, that really kind of came about because of memes. The whole argument of it is because, younger people, millennials, Gen Z, they were pretty much the ones who are like, oh yeah, it's totally a Christmas movie. And I think it's because the memes told us it. coupled with the fact that I think that there is a desire for us to rebel against what is traditionally thought of as a Christmas movie. I think, there is that kind of bend in us. We go towards movies like Die Hard and The Night Before and
Bad Santa,
because we
Gremlins.
want Gremlins. We want the edgy one. We want the anti-Christmas.
Yeah, and there's something about this holiday is so saccharine and pure, and is that you want to be a bit subversive. You want to challenge that. It's the cynical comic in all of us. But I think that there's important to separate movies that are about Christmas and movies that take place at Christmas.
Okay, that's a good distinction.
Because it doesn't have to be exactly about Christmas. Like, I think that Christmas Story is probably the most, that maybe like the Santa Claus and the Grinch are probably like the most Christmassy Christmas movies you can imagine. Maybe Elf's on there too. Maybe that's the Mount Rushmore. Yeah. But it doesn't have to be precisely about, oh no, if we don't get Becky to find the Christmas spirit, Santa Claus is going to die of AIDS. Like, it doesn't have to always be that.
Does that happen? Is that what movies are you watching, John, where Santa's got AIDS?
It's the wish.com version of Hallmark Channel.
It's the Temu version.
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
But my question to you, Brian, would be,
do
you consider Silent Night, Deadly Night a Christmas movie?
For me, it is, because I'm an asshole, and I that's not fair, because I have a proclivity for horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where my brain is 100% wired half the time, is the horror movie. So for me, movies like Krampus, Silent Night, Deadly Night, Part 1 and 2, and
don't forget Part 5, The Toy Maker.
What was that? Part 5, The Toy Maker? Yeah. I can't. I don't think I've ever seen the Toy Maker one.
Oh, it's great.
Is it great?
They're so bitter too, because like Mickey Rooney said that like movies like Silent Night, Deadly Night are destroying the fabric of our culture and society. And then he was so desperately in need for money that like they went, hey, you want to star in Silent Night, Deadly Night 5? We know you need the money. We need to keep your car. And he went, fine. I'm like, oh, that is dirty. You did him dirty.
They totally did him dirty.
Yeah.
And they rubbed his nose in that shit too.
Yeah.
But I, to answer your question, I'm hardwired for horror movies. So for me, I tend to watch horror themed Christmas movies around the holidays, because that's what I enjoy. I don't enjoy the quote unquote traditional ones. I was watching A Christmas Story with my daughter Coraline, and don't get me wrong, like, I enjoy watching it, but it's one of those ones that I will watch it one time for the season and never have to watch it again until next year. And that's something for me that's just how what I am gravitated towards, because as you said, John, earlier in the episode, whatever movie works for you for Christmas is your deal. I just think that Die Hard in particular, the reason why we tend to latch on it is I think that Die Hard just might be the most Christmassy of not Christmas movies out there. Like, there's a lot of Christmas references in that movie, from the soundtrack to the art deck, even the gags in it, like I have a machine gun, ho, 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 those sorts of things. That's the anti-Christmas there. So it's giving you that feeling of the Christmas movie, but at the same time doing it with a middle finger.
Yeah.
And I think that's why people gravitate towards it.
And I don't think it's too subversive, but one thing I do want to bring up that I hadn't thought about, probably because I'm a bro, is that some people had mentioned that the people that are shouting from the rooftop, shouting the loudest that this is a Christmas movie, are young males.
I think that's accurate.
And I think it's because it's the one movie that represents, you could argue, a version of toxic masculinity. John McClane does not know how to deal with the change with his wife, does not know how to properly communicate with her, but he solves things with through quiet, violent actions like aggressive male behavior. And that's the solution to everything. And she immediately falls in love with him again because he didn't solve it through communication. He solved it through being a man, the quote unquote definition of a man. And so, like, if you're afraid that saying Miracle on 34, if you like a Miracle on 34th Street is going to make you a gay, then you can say, but I like Die Hard because I'm a guy and I've got truck nuts and I drink Paps and I've got at least 2 domestic violence charges on me because I'm a man.
My own.
Yeah.
I think there's some merit to that. I really do. I think one of the things, John, is that I think that men who shout this stuff from the rooftops, and I'll be honest, I'm not one of those people. Like, I'll say this is a Christmas movie, but I'm not gonna go up to some rando on the street and say, "Did you know that Die Hard's a fucking Christmas movie?" Like, I don't care. Like, if you don't think it is, that's cool too. But I think that they need this kind of movie because they, as you said, they can't just like enjoy the Santa Claus or Elf or maybe a movie that is Christmas themed that is starring kind of like a woman. They can't enjoy that. So I think there's some merit to this idea that this is the toxic masculinity Christmas movie.
Like, I can't watch White Christmas. That makes me feminine. But I like Die Hard because Bruce Willis shoots a guy in the fucking face.
And he does kind of eat Holly's face at the end.
Yeah.
I was watching a clip of it. I'm like, how does this man kiss? Like, he's just eating her face.
I would say that possibly Bruce's thinking was that, like, he was just so full of adrenaline and just so happy to have her back. Like, he's kissing her like Ron Burgundy does Baxter. Like, oh, Baxter.
Well, I love my wife, and I would never kiss her like that. Like, I would never eat her face.
It's possibly the second worst kiss to any time Bill Murray and Sigourney Weaver had to kiss in Ghostbusters.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're right there. But yeah, I think that there is some merit to the whole idea that this is the toxic masculinity Christmas movie.
Well, and to play a little bit of the prosecution.
Okay.
And I'll not only use this movie, but I'll also use Batman Returns. Batman Returns came out in June. Die Hard came out in July. They weren't banking on the holiday as being a selling point for the movie. I think that they thought, oh, what would a reason that a company would have a party? A Christmas party, right? End of the year, everybody's going to have a couple of drinks. Alice is going to do an 8-ball of Coke, So it's a way to get everybody together. And then the set designer is going to have to put Santas everywhere, and you're going to have to reference it that it's Christmas Eve throughout the movie. But it, unlike, say, Polar Express or something like that comes out the second week of December and tries to feed off the holiday, this movie and Batman Returns, just adding that on as fuel to the fire. These movies came out in June because the selling point wasn't Christmas. It was just a backdrop.
I would disagree on one point.
Go.
Knowing how the market works when it comes to films and how they are released. So typically back in the day, a movie would come out at a certain time, and then you would have a good 3 to 6 months, more than likely 6 months before that movie hit tape. Back in the day, we had VHS tapes. I've done jokes on this a bunch. So my idea is that this is one of those movies that they knew they were going to sell tapes of this thing, saying it's, a holiday movie, or that it's the gift that you want to get for the holidays. So they released it in July and in June, knowing that VHS sales are going to be coming in December and November, meaning that a movie that has these Christmas elements are going to subliminally tell you, hey, this is a good thing to get for the holidays. That's my tinfoil hat approach to this.
Well, I would say that you also have to consider what movies can you watch any time of year as compared to ones you can only watch at the holiday.
Mhm.
I could not imagine watching Home Alone in July. I don't,
No.
unless I was like so hungover on the couch that I couldn't reach the remote and it was on like WGN and like I had no choice but to listen to it. Maybe then, but I could watch Die Hard in July. I could watch Edward Scissorhands in March. That wouldn't bother me,
Yeah.
but but I wouldn't watch a Muppets Christmas Carol in August. That would just be weird.
That's true. I wouldn't watch Elf in
Yeah.
July unless it's like they're doing like a Christmas in July type deal, because that's typically when they would do it.
I don't like that. I don't like that. That's not my bag. I don't like that.
That's fake Christmas.
Oh, and for all of you audio listeners, my
That's a
dog is barking. Yeah. She got no respect for the recording process.
Like,
but
I don't care if you're recording and you're doing it with video. I will be loud.
But let's hit some of the criteria that I found.
Okay,
online.
what's the criteria you have?
Does a movie have to take place around Christmas? And
yes.
Well, here's what I think is interesting. With maybe a couple of exceptions, like say Christmas Story or Elf, the most beloved Christmas movie is It's a Wonderful Life. And that movie only has about 5% that takes place at Christmas time.
But it still takes place at Christmas time, though.
Right, but 95% of that movie doesn't. If like John McClane, if Die Hard with a Vengeance, say, was Die Hard, and then at the end, Simon just ended up deciding to take over the Nakatomi Plaza, and for 5 minutes that's where the movie ended, would we all consider Die Hard a Christmas movie at that point? So I just don't know why we consider I would say there's a harder fight to say It's a Wonderful Life is a Christmas movie as compared to Die Hard. I think Die Hard's more of a Christmas movie than It's a Wonderful Life is.
I can buy that to a point. The reason why I would say that It's a Wonderful Life is considered a Christmas movie is because it's been bashed into our heads since it came out. Like there's something to be said for society's view on what is a Christmas movie and what isn't. Okay. It's a Wonderful Life, that falls into a Christmas movie. Why? Because your media, I remember even watching like Look Who's Talking as a kid, and It's a Wonderful Life is playing on the screen in the scene with the grandpa and Mikey. That's deep cut for people if you've never seen the movie Look Who's Talking. Yeah. So like you have other movies that are referencing this as a Christmas movie. So like you're getting hit multiple times that this movie, It's a Wonderful Life, even though John, you're saying, hey, it's not, by all stretches of imagination, it isn't compared to Die Hard. It's because society and our culture have pushed it into us, saying that it is.
Well, and I have a little bit of background on exactly why that is.
Okay, why is that?
Well,
money.
Well, no, actually, money in kind of the reverse sense. What movies play at Christmas time on cable? And now I know that like times are changing, and I'm like, younger people listening, like, okay, old man, cable. But that's the way it was for a long time, before like streaming has kind of taken over everything. Is what plays on television every year is what we associate with the holiday. And It's a Wonderful Life was a bomb when it came out. Like it was just not beloved, not a classic, and it kind of went into obscurity. And a lot of times at the holidays, you want to give people who are running channels, whether it's your local affiliates or the cable channels, some time off. So you buy a movie like a big flop like It's a Wonderful Life, and you just set it on a loop to play like 10 times in a row. So somebody who works the station could be home eating turkey dinner with their family. So considering they got it either for free or for peanuts, they ran it every year at Christmas time on TV, not because they thought it was a Christmas classic, but because it was cheap as chips to do it. And before long, people started to associate that movie with the holidays, where now after all these years, 20, 30, 40 years, it's this perennial holiday classic that plays every year on Christmas Eve. And don't miss the NBC broadcast of the greatest Christmas movie of all time. It was accidentally created. It was never even the director never intended this to be a Christmas movie. He's like, it just ends at Christmas. I didn't think it was a Christmas movie. That's not what we thought when we were making it, and I think that Die Hard plays a big part of that too, is that Die Hard is always on television this time of year, or any streaming service says, watch our, these holiday classic movies, and one of them will be Die Hard, on there.
So what you're saying is, in essence, we're creating the perennial holiday classic by pushing the whole Die Hard thing. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, it could be coming like It's a Wonderful Life,
Yeah.
In that sense. But
yeah, I wonder if that could be applied to other movies, because as I mentioned, I have a list of ones that I consider alternative Christmas movies. And I have some that other people have said these are, but I clearly go like, no fucking way.
Well, here's the other end of it. And
all right, what's the other end of it?
I still am baffled as to why they made this decision. If you want, if a movie just needs to take place at Christmas time to be a Christmas movie, I've got one for you. Iron Man 3.
Bingo.
The entire time I was watching that movie, I kept turning to the people around me going, why the fuck does this movie take place at Christmas?
Because it's Shane Black. That's all. That were honestly, I have three. There are three Shane Black films on my list of alternative Christmas, because I tend to think, like, even though Iron Man 3 is, I would say, probably the most standalone of MCU movies, like, it has kind of a start, middle, and an end, and doesn't necessarily connect with the Avengers in any way, which is a weird thing considering that that's all Marvel seems to do now.
Stupidly too, because he's like, at the end, he's like, I'm not Iron Man anymore, and then Age of Ultron comes out, and he's like just flying with the Avengers.
Like, sorry, I lied.
Yeah.
But Shane Black has a tendency to make these Christmas-centric movies. Iron Man 3, Long Kiss Goodnight, and Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Those are kind of his perennial ones. Plus, I think he wrote Lethal Weapon,
Yes.
which that's also been talked as a Christmas movie because it takes place at Christmas time. I don't know if I consider Lethal Weapon to be a Christmas movie, but a lot of people do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, just some things to consider, and like Holiday Inn. Let's ignore the whole blackface scene.
Yeah,
with that movie. Not in any defense of it. Like, fuck that movie. Is that movie is about a Holiday Inn, i.e., every holiday they do like a musical number, and they don't hit up every holiday, but there's the aforementioned Abraham Lincoln's birthday, where we have that one number. I think they do like a Thanksgiving thing, or then there's an Easter thing. Like, the Easter song, like, is the most famous song, I would say, from the movie, but somehow everybody equates it with Christmas, even though, again, Christmas is such a small part, I think, of that film.
Let me ask you this, John. Do you think that these older movies, they never set out to be Christmas movies, and that's kind of why they don't fit, but yet we've kind of pushed them? Like, every one of the movies you mentioned, like, they're not like the Hallmark movies of today, where you literally have movies being manufactured that are the sole purpose of these need to be Christmas movies. Like, that's their whole bread and butter, to the point where I remember a couple of years ago, there was a meme, and you've probably seen it too, where they took the covers of all of these Hallmark movies and they put them side by side, and they all look the exact same.
It's an assembly line.
They're the exact same design. It's just nuts.
And I don't even know when the game changed to, put out movies at Christmas time about Christmas because people want to see Christmas at Christmas. Like, I would dare to say, because Christmas Story also was not a huge success when it came out.
No, it's not.
Santa Claus the movie in 1985 was not a huge.
God, that was so bad.
Oh, Lithgow chewing the scenery, though.
So bad.
We want to give you the toys away for free. For free. Yeah. I would dare to say that it might be the Santa Claus set the precedent for, we need a Christmas movie out at Christmas time, because that Tim Allen made $1 quadrillion.
I mean, in terms of modern Hollywood, yes.
Yeah.
I would honestly argue that the modern take on this is because of A Christmas Story and because of TNT and TBS doing the run of that.
They did and It's a Wonderful Life. Yeah. Like, we got it for cheap, run it all day.
I think that is it. I mean, I remember the first time that my mom had seen it, she was like, I missed this in the theaters. Like, she had never seen it. And it wasn't until it played on TBS and TNT. So I think that the whole idea of we need to manufacture these came from, yes, the Santa Claus being a massive hit. And that's not to say there weren't Christmas movies beforehand. Like you had in the early 90s, like Prancer and A Nightmare Before Christmas, which you can make the argument
like a year earlier
is either a Halloween or a Christmas movie. So
we should have a whole episode on that.
we should.
It's a Christmas movie.
It is a Christmas movie. But I would say you could still watch it around Halloween. You're good too. I think it goes both ways. But I guess my point is like where it became big money is, and where it was like we have to get these things out all the time, is probably Santa Claus and coupled with A Christmas Story playing on cable.
And the remake of Miracle on 34th Street came out.
Yeah,
as well.
that was 95.
Or no, it was not. It was 94 with.
Was it 94? Okay,
because I remember my mom being like, "I'm gonna take you to the big Christmas movie coming out." Wow, and I was like, "Oh boy, Tim Allen," and she's like, "No, we're going to see Miracle on 34th Street." I'm like, I hate you, Mom. I hate you so much. Then my dad, the cool parent, took me to see this.
He's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna take you to see this because one, you don't want to see Miracle on 34th Street."
Yeah, but
not that remake though.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, the John Hughes scripted one with the owner of Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
but the next category that they base it on is, which I think is interesting, is music. I guess we're so auditorily sensed that, like, you know, does the movie have to have Christmas music or at least a very uplifting, festive soundtrack? And I would say that Die Hard is riddled with Christmas music.
It absolutely is. The themes of it are all that undertone there of the, you know, jingle bells and that sort of thing. You can hear it there. And on top of that, all the characters are like, some of them are singing it at certain points, even to themselves. So yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And even a scene where like the safe is open, that's classic, classical music, but the way that the wind's blowing and the lights hitting them, that like you can't help but almost feel the Christmas vibe, even though it's not like hark hear the bells sweet, as it's opening. But I would say the biggest indicator to me that if you're using music as a parameter on whether this is a Christmas movie is the end scene has John McClane reuniting with his wife in the back of a limousine as Let It Snow plays to play us out.
Yeah, you can't deny that at this point. you just can't. You can't deny it. And I would say like the soundtrack, like, you know, okay, that's not very Christmassy, but this is also an action heist movie. So the actual soundtrack, not the songs that play, have to be like action. I guess here's what I would go with. If you take all of the Christmas stuff out of Die Hard and you replace it with another holiday, like I'm saying, every bit of Christmas stuff, every Simon's that there's a Christmas joke or the music or the art deck or anything like that. If you take all that stuff out and you replace it with another holiday, do you start to think that, oh yeah, that's that holiday music? Like if I took it out and I placed it with Halloween and I had people like whistling Halloween songs, I can't even think of any off the top of my head, but like if I had those in there, you know, people would think it's a Halloween movie, even though it's an action film.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's I think if anything, that's the litmus test. If you take that stuff out that everyone's saying like, oh yeah, it's a Christmas movie, and you replace it with another holiday, do you think that it matches whatever that holiday you replace? More than likely, you're going to say yeah.
Yeah. Next up on the list is emotional drive, recognizable moral pattern. And so one of the questions is, does John become a better person in the movie? Yes, he does. But here's where I'm going to play the prosecution.
I don't know about that.
Well, he really
I don't know about that.
Tell Holly I told her I love her a million times, but I never said I was sorry. Is that, yes, does he become a better person on paper? Of course. But does that have anything to do with Christmas?
Well, I would say if you look at the arc in Home Alone, which is very much a Christmas movie, the arc of that is that Kevin basically reconnects with his family, right?
Mhm.
Like that's what we all kind of agree with. Like it's everyone kind of reconnects with each other as a family unit, and it's Christmas time. I would argue that sort of happens here. Okay. John and Holly both are kind of separate from the family unit, right? John is clearly in New York with the kids, and Holly is out in Los Angeles. So this incident happens, and towards the end of it, they are, at least in the movie, back together. So that family unit is restored. Now, does Die Hard address any of the reasons why that family unit was broken in the first place? No, because it's not that kind of movie. This is an action film first and foremost. Okay, they're not going to go into the nuances, and sure enough, John McClane's not going to sit there and go like, "I'm sorry that I didn't support your career because I'm stuck in the 50s thinking that a woman's place belongs in the kitchen. I'm sorry that you make more money than me because it's 1988 and I feel threatened by the fact that you make money." So like those sorts of things, they're not going to ever touch those with a 10-foot pole. And every subsequent sequel has never touched it. But I think the whole idea of family reconnection, which is very much something that you see in most Christmas movies, is there in Die Hard.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it would have been amazing if he's like, "Holly, I'm so sorry that we broke up because I just didn't believe in Christmas. I had to sit in a car with Kirk Cameron." No, I sat in a car with Hans Gruber, and he explained to me why everything I believed was wrong. Now let's all.
Did I ever tell you about why I don't like Christmas, John?
Let me tell you about the swaddling cloth.
Did you know that in Christmas tree lots, they're actually crosses and not trees?
St. Nicholas took over Nakatomi Plaza of his time, and he killed everyone inside. Now where are my detonators?
Where are my detonators?
But yeah, what the hell are we talking about?
Die Hard.
Okay, I was gonna say we got into like Hans.
We got into thing, Hans Gruber.
But yeah, but here's another thing. Another trope: greed is overcome. The whole Scrooge paradigm. And yes, greed is overcome. Hans Gruber doesn't get the money, he pays for.
He doesn't get his bearer bonds. That's all he wanted was his bearer bonds.
Right? I mean, just give him
give him
a
like
whole
5 of them.
Yeah,
5.
And that movie is very clever because bearer bonds are so bizarrely structured that whoever is holding them owns them.
Is that a real thing?
Yeah, that's why he's be like, "Oh, well, the bearer bonds, I'm sure, have numbers and codes on them that like they can't just go and cash them." No, if they leave the country with them, they own those bearer bonds now.
So, like, technically, John McClane could have just taken like a couple, and he would be like, "Oh, I own these now."
Yeah, throw it in a duffel bag, and he forget it. Holly doesn't have to work another.
He'd wrap his bloody feet in them.
Yeah, yeah.
His stumps.
Squish, squish. But again, I asked the question: did Christmas have anything to do with toppling the greed of Hans Gruber?
I mean, not really, but I would argue, again, playing asshole, the gun that was behind John's neck had Christmas tape on it. So by virtue of the tape being on there, there you go. Christmas killed him.
And you could present the whole idea that one man who is just a New York cop, he's not like a trained assassin, but the one man was able to stop all these skilled lethal terrorists on one night is
Bank robbers, John. They're bank robbers.
Well, yeah. Yeah. No, they are exceptional thieves. And now that they moved up to kidnapping, I suggest you be more polite. But the fact that he was able to take them down in one night is kind of a miracle. Maybe a Christmas miracle.
On Nakatomi Plaza. Yeah. No, I will not buy that one that Christmas played any part in Hans Gruber falling out of the building. But I mean, what we got like a 3 out of 4 so far.
Yeah. Then there's a question about how does anti-Christmas sentiment pertain to it? How much does the plot affect whether something is a Christmas film or not? And one thing that I immediately thought of is one of everybody's perennial favorite Christmas movie. This is like Family Feud, and the top 4, one of them is going to be Home Alone with like 31% polled or whatever. If you really think about that movie, both the first one and the second one is about a little kid violently injuring criminals that want to murder him.
We had someone pissed off about that, by the way.
Oh,
can I mention that one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I mention that one? Okay, so I'm not gonna name names, but we posted a reel on our TikTok, which, by the way, you should be totally on our TikTok, about how when we were reviewing the movie Dutch, how we said that basically Kevin McAllister and Henry from The Good Son are basically the same character.
Oh, you remember his name in The Good Son? Good for you.
Yeah, dude, that's a great movie. But I was saying how they're in essence doing the same thing. The only difference is Home Alone does it for laughs, and The Good Son does it for terror. And we had some person who called us like, what do they call us? They said, "Oh, grow a pair," and it's a movie and blah, blah, blah. And
we weren't saying cancel it.
I wasn't saying cancel it at all. I was just saying, like, you're going to try to tell me that when Kevin has a blowtorch shooting on a grown man's scalp, that's not going to lead to some sort of like injury or death. Yeah. And yeah, you can be like, well, they're trying to get him. It's like, well, he could have called the cops, dude. Like, and he did later in the movie after he had tortured these men. No, I'm not trying to argue for Marv and Harry, but I am just trying to point out the obvious that could have called the cops
from the outset. Yeah,
from the outside. Well,
and from the second one, especially, like, I would say anybody that says Die Hard's not a Christmas movie, but say the Home Alone franchise is, what part of Marv being electrocuted into a skeleton screams "Merry Christmas"? Yeah,
that's still my favorite part. Like, out of that whole movie, like, I was over at your house, and I'm surprised you never seen these YouTube clips, but I'll put a link to them. But there are literally a whole collection of these scenes from Home Alone in which someone went ahead and made them R-rated. So, like, you literally seeing like blood and gore and viscera all over the place when Marv gets hit in the head with bricks.
That one was my favorite, and his head splits open like a Cadbury cream egg.
Yes. Yeah. And on top of that, like, it has the music at the end of it, the like, I was like, oh, it's so good. It's so good. But I would argue that they are the same character. I don't care.
But but my point being, if Home Alone is just this Christmas classic, and it really is about just violence and cartoon violence, mind you, and two men that are trying to murder an 8 and then a 9-year-old boy, how is that tone any different? Because I know a lot of people go, oh, Die Hard can't be a Christmas movie because it's about a bunch of criminals taking over a building and then one guy like murdering them all. How is that Christmas?
You mean Home Alone?
But
it's the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was, Jingle All the Way is complete violence. National Lampoon's has a completely cynical undertone to it. Scrooge is outright hateful, but all of these movies are considered Christmas classics.
Well, it's you know what? It's a point. And I think again, like what makes a Christmas movie is more or less dealing with the surrounding nature of the story. I think there is something to be said about having that background be Christmas and having the circumstances be the holiday season. I was watching a movie last night that I had forgotten was very much rooted in Christmas, and it's kind of a dark horse movie that I think most people forgot is technically a Christmas movie. But do you remember the 1999 movie Go?
No.
Oh man. So Go is this, it's really good. So Go is this it's kind of in the vibe of Pulp Fiction, but it's like Pulp Fiction for Gen Xers and like rave kids in the 90s. But it has Sarah Polley, who the hell is in it? Oh, I gotta look this up because it's really a great film.
You mean the kind of people that like jerk off to hackers?
A little bit past that. A little bit past
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
A little bit past that. Oh, it's got Sarah Polley, Jay Moore, Katie Holmes, Scott Wolf, Taye Diggs.
Sound like a motley, a
It is-
murderer's
William
row
Fitcher.
of late 90s people.
It is very much a late 90s turn of the century movie. A lot of like gritty camera angles, like a lot of Dutch angles and shit. But what I discovered upon rewatching it, like I knew the story itself because it very much is like little tiny vignettes strung together that are all happening on the same day. Okay. So you get Sarah Polley's character, who it's basically about a drug deal gone wrong, but it takes place on Christmas. And she's someone who works at a grocery store on Christmas Eve, is low on rent, and decides to play drug dealer for an evening. And where the holidays kind of come into play and where the Christmassy vibe is the first line of the movie. I realized, I'm like, holy shit, this movie is actually a Christmas movie, despite it not having the look of it. And Katie Holmes's character says that she gives us this anecdote about how when you're opening a present on Christmas morning, this is the first scene in the whole movie. You open a present and you're so excited about what's inside of it. You don't know what it is, but you always have these ideas of what the present's going to be. And when you open it, you're completely surprised by it. And every one of these vignettes is in essence that. You think something's going to happen a certain way, and it ends up not occurring the way that you thought. And it's basically that distilled down. So call it a Christmas movie or not, but I tend to go with that it is. I do think it is, because the holiday does play a sense into it. All the circumstances surrounding Christmas, you're surrounded by Christmas stuff. They go to a Christmas themed rave called Merry Xmas, with Mary as in like the woman. Yeah. I mean, this was high DX time, man. So like, you know that.
Suck it.
Yeah, this is 1999. So also great performances, honestly. Timothy Olyphant's in this as a very young version. He's a very young drug dealer.
Checks out. Yeah.
Yeah. Jay Moore and Scott Wolf play.
Jay Moore's in this.
Jay Moore's in this.
Sign of quality.
Yeah. This is young Jay Moore, you know?
Yeah.
This is before he did Mafia. But yeah, he's in this with Scott Wolf, and they're like gay actors that are being like blackmailed by the LAPD, and that's their story. And it's a whole nutty movie. I saw it on Pluto TV, by the way. So if you're interested in watching it, watch it there.
Pluto. Yeah.
Pluto, man. I wasn't gonna pay for it.
Crackle. You didn't even see it on Crackle.
Crackle's good too. But what you're describing, if we're saying that Die Hard is very much a Christmas movie, I would say this movie is very much that, just because the whole thesis of the film aligns with our feeling about Christmas, especially presents.
And the last thing here is viewing traditions. Does watching a movie at Christmas make it a Christmas movie?
Yes.
And see, I have a very bizarre example.
Okay, what's your bizarre example?
When I was maybe 12 or 13, around Easter time, it was like the Saturday before Easter, and my sister and I were painting Easter eggs. And in the living room, next to the kitchen, my dad was watching cable and just randomly, like, he was flipping through the channels and Terminator was on. He went, "Oh, I'll watch Terminator," because that's a good movie.
It is a good movie.
Had nothing to do with Easter. It was just something that was on cable. And I remember everybody in my family for like once was in a good mood. And this is just like one of those like core memories that you have, where it's like that was a great night and everything was correct, and everybody was having a good time. And so I created a sense memory of Terminator with painting Easter eggs. And I'm a giant man baby who just finds a way to do his childhood things in a dirty way to justify them. So I still paint Easter eggs. I just I riddle them with like swear words and penises now.
Yeah, you tend to do that with a lot of things.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I mean, you do that with, I think you did that one year with Christmas cookies.
Oh yeah. Oh, I try to do my Christmas dick cookies every year. And Christmas vulvas. Yeah.
Christmas vulvas.
But because of that, whenever I'm painting my Easter eggs, I will watch usually the South Park Easter episodes, but then I'll put on Terminator.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with Easter, except that it means Easter to me and literally only me. And I told that to Eddie Furlong, and he was like, when I got his autograph, and he was kind of like, "What the hell are you talking about? Get out of here." You got any weed? No. All right, get out of here. But yeah, so is Terminator an Easter movie to me? Yes. Am I literally the only person on the planet of 8 billion people? Yeah. But
probably not.
Maybe somebody else watches Terminator every Easter. I don't know. But but that's something that's unique to my situation. So I think that if you watch something at a certain time, I have friends that I from college that I know that watch Hook every Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
And that's not a Christmas
I don't get
movie.
that. I saw that one on a list too. Like there are so many of these alternative Christmas movies out there that are listicles. And Hook was on there. And also another one that I see all the time. And I don't buy it. I think Christine might not like this, but I don't think any of the Harry Potter movies are Christmas movies at all.
It's only because when they return to school,
one
it's
scene.
the holidays. Yeah.
One scene. That's it. Like I don't understand why it is. Like, and even I was on HBO Max, and why, Brian, were you calling it HBO Max? It's called Max. No, it's always going to be called
It's HBO Max. And it's Twitter. Care. It's not X. Fuck you, Elon.
I don't care. You can't, you know what? Every time I say it, I just feel like it is hurting David Zaslav just a little bit.
What, you mean HBO Go?
HBO Go. Yeah. But I always see their holiday collection of movies, and Harry Potter's always on there. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, there's one scene that takes place during Christmas time. There's also a scene that takes place in Halloween with the whole goblin thing. Like, is that now suddenly a Halloween movie? I'd argue that Harry Potter has more to do with Halloween than Christmas. Why? Witches, wizards,
and
bingo,
And I think it does play around both seasons. I think that and it's usually what channel is that? Is oh damn it. No, it's a cable channel like Freeform or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that kind of channel where they're like they want to have their cake and eat it too. So it's like Halloween, look at all the wizards and witches, and then Christmas time. Remember how there's a few 5 minutes of Christmas in Harry Potter?
5 minutes of Christmas.
Look at me.
Literally 5 minutes of Christmas. But there are also some other movies, John, that I saw that are considered Christmas movies, but I don't buy it. So these are lists. These are some that I see here. So the first one, I saw this on a list. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Eyes Wide Shut.
Row House. One night
Oh,
only,
God damn it.
No, Eyes Wide Shut is a no time of year movie. I love Mr. Kubrick, but that movie can eat it.
That is an orgy film. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. That is not a Christmas movie.
It's a
by any
classier
stretch.
Caligula.
Yeah, that's a great. I'm making that a reel right there. That is, it's true. It is a classier Caligula. It is, the only difference is there's no porn stars in it that we know of. Very true. Another one that kept coming up was LA Confidential. Again, one scene.
Yeah.
The opening scene takes place at Christmas time. And like there's a newspaper that says, "Oh, the Christmas Massacre." And it's like just because there's one scene that takes place at Christmas time doesn't mean the whole movie is.
That would make Deadpool a Christmas movie because there's a scene where they're fucking to every holiday.
Yes, that's true.
Well,
Like
it's not Christmas morning until we sit around and watch Deadpool.
everyone get your snuggies. We're going to watch Deadpool. Ghostbusters 2. That's apparently a Christmas movie.
That's a New Year's Eve movie.
That's a New Year's Eve movie.
Yeah.
That's what I would go with. That feels more like a New Year's Eve film than Christmas movie.
And let New Year's Eve have it. They don't have any movies.
They don't have, well, they have that abomination romantic comedy New Year's Eve.
Yeah. I know. I sent you a list of movies. So like I had to like Google it, and I'm like, and most of the movies that I sent you are just like there's like one scene, like we're talking about like one scene at New Year's where it's like it's not something that really revolves around New Year's.
No,
yeah.
it's not. I mentioned Harry Potter. The Shining.
There's Christmas in that movie?
You know what it is, John? Like, I think that people who come up with these listicles, they think that a movie that has snow in the movie suddenly means it must be a Christmas movie. Because I saw Grumpy Old Man on another one. And I'm like, again, what the fuck is wrong with
I
that?
haven't seen that movie, and so they could have been opening Christmas gifts for like an hour.
I don't think
remember.
they are. I mean, it's a good movie. Yeah. Like I haven't seen it in like 20 years, but the point is like just because there's snow doesn't make it a Christmas movie. And then
my favorite Christmas movie, the Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing.
Merry
Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Oh, the second coming of The Thing.
Yeah.
And then the final one that I saw that was constantly on lists was Catch Me If You Can.
That's a stretch.
There's again 3 or 4 scenes that take place during Christmas.
I think it's because he possibly gets caught because he's so lonely at Christmas. He reaches out to Tom Hanks's character, and that like is his downfall. But like, okay.
Well, I will use the argument that I came up with before about deciding whether or not Die Hard is a Christmas movie. If I take all of the scenes that feature Christmas out of Catch Me If You Can, does it suddenly change your impression of that movie as a holiday film? I'd say it doesn't. Well, because there's only a couple scenes in there.
On that note, Brian, can I give you the defense and the prosecution?
Okay, please.
The defense is when you take a look at a movie like Die Hard and you take into all the things that we've talked about today, you have a holiday movie that takes place at the holidays about what it is to be involved with family and social gatherings around the holiday season, and about a man who goes through a journey to become a better person and a better husband at the holidays and stop insurmountable greed in the name of charity and goodwill, with a movie that ends with the happiness that we expect from the holiday season.
Eating your wife's face.
Yeah, eating your wife's face as Let It Snow plays in the background as John McClane saves the holidays and his marriage. For
at least 5 days.
Hallelujah. Holy shit, where's the Tylenol? Now,
I would say he saved his marriage for 5 days.
Yeah. Now,
that's it.
While there is scenes with Christmas decorations, there is music that is Christmas playing throughout the whole movie, and Christmas playing a part in the movie. Now, here's the prosecution. What you had just brought up about Catch Me If You Can, Brian, if this took place at any other time of the year, would it not still work as a movie if you stripped Christmas from it entirely?
Yes, it would.
So
Yeah, it would.
Would the Santa Claus, the Grinch Who Stole Christmas, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, or Elf work if you took Christmas out of it?
No, but I would argue that if I'm looking at a movie and judging it as a holiday film, that is my argument. Is that not so much does it affect the fact it's a movie? I'm talking about if I'm judging something as a holiday movie, if I get the vibe of that holiday from the movie by stripping out of one holiday and replacing it with another one, am I going to get the feeling that, oh, yes, this is suddenly that holiday movie? That is what I'm saying. I'm not necessarily saying, does the movie like collapse? That's, I think, what you're saying, John, is that it collapses if you take it out.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that at all. All I'm trying to say is that people argue that Die Hard is a Christmas movie because it is surrounded by all of the Christmassy shit. Okay? And I, you know what? I agree with them. And we've talked about points here that kind of point to that. But what I would say is that a movie like Catch Me If You Can, which only has 4 scenes, if I took those scenes out, and again, people are saying, oh yeah, Catch Me If You Can is a Christmas movie. If I took those 4 scenes and I said, you know what? It's not Christmas. It's Halloween. Or it's Valentine's Day. Or it is Arbor Day, as you so much like to bring up. If I take out any, if I just replace it with a holiday, am I suddenly going to look at that movie and go like, oh yeah, this is totally a Valentine's Day movie. Oh yeah, this is totally an Arbor Day movie. I'm not. I'm going to look and go like, oh yeah, it takes place. Yeah, there's a couple scenes where they're in, he's stopping at his house for trick or treats instead of looking at people they're, celebrating, the holidays. So like, that's my point, is that if I did the same thing to Die Hard, I'm in essence removing all of that. I'm going to think that it's a Valentine's Day movie if I replace everything with Valentine's Day. And I think that's, you could look at the ratio of holiday shit in the movie, and whatever that ratio is, if it's more than like 50% holiday shit, you're going to think that it is that holiday movie. That's science for you.
And what I would present is that if you, by that logic, if that disqualifies Die Hard, then that disqualifies It's a Wonderful Life.
Well, I'm not saying it disqualifies it.
No, I'm saying if somebody did say, they're like, oh, if you took all the Christmas stuff out,
I would say
then,
it would. Yes.
Then you have to disqualify It's a Wonderful Life. And for those that also say, oh, but well, It's a Wonderful Life is about uplifting Christmas joy. It's like the Christmas cookies of the movie season, and like Die Hard is just like so awful and violent and terrible. I would say Christmas is a lot of things to a lot of people, and if you believe that about the difference between It's a Wonderful Life and Die Hard, then I'm assuming you don't buy Christmas gifts at Christmas time. You just celebrate the birth of Jesus. Oh, what's that? Oh, you do both? So it's about capitalism and Jesus? So why can't Christmas be about, Merry Christmas, Bedford Falls, and yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker? There's room for both.
Thank you for that, TikTok. That became a TikTok. Good conversation, honestly. Yeah. I didn't think we were going to go deep into the whole Die Hard argument this much, but we did, and we got to talk about some other ones. I did want to mention, as we talked a little bit about it, I personally think Batman Returns is a Christmas movie.
Oh yeah. The whole movie revolves around it. Yeah.
Yes.
That's the lighting of the Christmas tree. Yeah.
Again, if I were to, I think this is the truth. Whatever the percentage of holiday crap in the movie is, that's your deciding factor. If it's 10%, you could probably remove it. It's not going to affect the movie too much. You're not going to think it's a holiday movie. But if it's over 50%, and in the case of Batman Returns, literally the tree lighting ceremony is the core plot of the first half of the movie.
It happens twice, and it gets fucked
Happens
up twice.
twice.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I would also say that like that's why Batman Forever is not a Halloween movie.
Never.
Because it's incidental to the overall movie.
There's only one scene that takes place at Halloween. That's it.
Twick or
Twick
tweet.
or tweet.
Apparently, Alfred does not realize that those are like 45-year-old men. But nevertheless, as we mentioned at the top of the show, and I'll repeat it again, there is no rhyme or reason to this.
No.
We did this for the entertainment of it.
Yes. for
Whatever.
funds.
Yeah, whatever you want to watch at Christmas is a Christmas movie.
That's right.
And I can't wait every year when I'm decorating my tree and decking my halls and decking my bows. I
Is that what you're doing? You're decking your balls as you watch Die Hard.
I put glitter on Old Lefty, which is my right one, and green glitter on the other one. No, but no, it's I can't wait to watch Die Hard when I do it. It's a Christmas tradition for me. So therefore, it's a Christmas movie to me. Because remember, folks, there is no rule to this.
No,
Watch
there is
whatever
no
you
rule.
want. You're a goddamn American. Live free and die hard.
There you go. That's a good send off there.
Yeah.
Good send off there. Well, with that said, John, where can they find you at on the internets?
Let's see. You can find me over at the Twitter, excuse me. And Facebook and Instagram, and over at JDubs Video Nasty. So go if you like this. If you like me on here. If you don't, if you're more of a Brian person, probably don't bother. But if you like me a whole lot, and want just me, you can go over on YouTube and check me out.
Awesome. You should, if you like me, go check out John's stuff too. Like, I'm being honest with you, go check his stuff out too. You can find me over at Brian Coddington on Twitter. I also run the Psycho Show page. Be sure to like us and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Psycho Show. You can also find us on TikTok. We are on TikTok at Cinema Psycho Show. If you want to keep the conversation going, come hang out with us on our Discord channel. The link for that is in the description of this episode. Along with that, if you like this video, please be sure to hit the subscribe button, the follow button, the notification bell. I don't know. We're still new at this whole video thing. Do that for us. And of course, be sure to follow us on all audio-only podcast platforms. Or you can go over to cinemapsychoshow.com/follow to find your audio platform to listen to us. And we will see you next time.
Merry Crisis.